Well, hello. So I'm actually holding my phone in my hands right now. I don't have the tripod, so the video might be slightly shaky. But this is my micro ATX case, and with the micro ATX motherboard. And this is my secondary PC. It's kind of a little bit of a backup PC, because if my main PC goes down for some reason, I need an extra computer to look up things and whatnot. So it's kind of basic. It's kind of a budget motherboard and a budget CPU. I put everything, the information about this stuff, the specs, on my blog / website, and it's a link in the video description. So the motherboard is some kind of micro ATX. It's got the 760 chipset from Intel, and the CPU is the same as I have in my NAS. Actually, it's the 12th gen CPU, the i3 12100. So it got 4 cores, 8 threads. So so it got basically 4 cores with hyperthreading, so another extra 4 threads there. It doesn't have any efficiency cores or whatever. It's just regular performance cores with hyperthreading. I don't know if you can see that the RAM, I got 4 sticks of DDR4 RAM, and each stick is 16 gigabyte in size. So this is a 64 gigabyte kit. I was thinking of getting 128, but I can't really afford that right now, so 64 is more than enough for this PC at least. I used to have this computer as a streaming PC, because if you look down there, you see the bottom card is the Elgato card, is the capture card. So the main PC is connected through this, or to this, so I can actually record stuff. And you see the red card there is the 10 gigabit card. It's the same that I have in my main PC and my NAS. The downside with this micro ATX board is that the bottom slot, PCIe slot with the Elgato card, that's an 4x slot, wired 4x, and that Elgato card needs those 4 lanes. And then above that, where the red card is they are both X16 slots, but the bottom one is wired 4x and the red card is wired 1x. And the gigabit card is actually a 4x card. So the 10 gigabit card will be bandwidth limited a little bit, because it can only use one of those 4 lanes. But it is PCI Express 3, I think, so it should be enough, I think. I did some testing before and I got about 600 megabytes per second, so that might be true. So we'll see. I'm going to test a little bit more the speed there. And the bottom there, bottom corner above these SATA ports is the one of the M.2 drives, the 980 Pro. I think that's the, I don't know if you can read it, I can't read it right now, but I think it's a 2 terabyte version. And of course there behind the or under the CPU cooler, between the graphics card and CPU cooler, you got another M.2. I think that's a 1 terabyte 980 Pro. So I got 2 of those. And yeah, I got a couple of fans. This is RGB fans actually. And then it's kind of weird, these SATA ports. You have like 2 over there and then 2 at the bottom. So the layout is kind of weird. So you got 4 ports in total, and they will actually go to the front here. You can see my fingers. At the bottom there, I have this bay, so you can actually fit 6 drives in here, but I will only occupy the top 4 ones. So yeah, so there are the 2 top left and right are 500 gigs, and then the 2 middle ones are 2 1 terabyte drives. And the top drives, the top left is running Windows 11 Pro, and the top right is running Debian 12. It's a Linux distribution. And I'm having it like this because the way that I actually dual boot this system, and the nice thing with the BIOS is that you can disable the SATA ports one by one. So if I want to run Windows 11, I disable port number 2, which is Linux, and then Windows just boot up. And if I want to run Debian, I just disable port number 1 and enable port number 2, and Linux will boot. That way I don't have to mess with the bootloaders at all. So if I decide that I don't want to run Linux anymore, I can just format that drive, and Windows 11 still works just fine. Or just the opposite, if I don't want to run Windows 11, I can just format that drive, and I don't have to do any tricks with the dual boot stuff. So I let the BIOS or UEFI actually decide, or is the bootloader kind of thing. The 2 1 terabyte drives will just be for storage. Same thing, I think I will have the 1 terabyte SSDs for Linux, and the NVMe drives will be storage for Windows 11, because I might do some recordings and stuff onto the M.2 drives. So yeah, that's kind of this little case over here. I didn't really do that much cable management on the back, a little bit, but yeah, it's a little bit messy because of all the fan cables and stuff. And the graphics card, I forgot to mention, it's an Asus card, the RTX 3060. It's the 12 gig version. There is an 8 gig version, I think, as well, but I got the 12 gig. And it's got one single PCIe power cable. Nothing else really. The RAM stuff. Got 2 fans, RGB fans in the front, 2 at the top, 1 in the back. And then the power supply is a Corsair CV550, so 550 watt power supply. And this is sort of a cheaper power supply. It doesn't, it's not modular or anything, so every single cable is going through one hole in that, well, thing. So there's a lot of power cables underneath here that I'm not using. I'm just using the 24 pin and one single CPU connector. I don't know if you can see it up there in the corner. Yeah, and it's kind of weird that you put the fan headers on the middle of the board, so you have to do, I did have an extension cable there. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But yeah, this is sort of my secondary PC. I will have it, yeah, as a backup, and the other drives I will have for testing, like testing Linux distributions and stuff. And this monitor, yeah, the I have it hooked up to this is my 3 monitors. They are identical. They are 27 inch, and they have 1 display port and 3 or 2 HDMI. So yeah, this computer is actually connected to the left monitor there on one of the HDMI ports, because the display port goes to the main PC, because this is 165 Hertz monitors and you only get 165 Hertz on the display port. If you connect HDMI, you will get maximum of 144 Hertz, and that's enough for this PC at least. And on the main PC, I have a special display management software from Dell, and I can easily just switch the inputs with the keyboard. So I have a key combination, so I just, the numpad on the keyboard is the minus key at the top right corner. So I hold down the left shift and then press the minus sign, and that monitor will switch input. And the nice kind of thing is that, you have to have the mouse cursor on this monitor before you do the switch, because that's the way for the management software to know what monitor it should switch input. So if I have the mouse cursor on the middle monitor and press shift minus, it will switch input on this monitor. So yeah, and same thing with the left one. So yeah, a little video about that. So yeah, this will be sort of my secondary PC. That's the back. You can't really see that much, maybe. You see that much. It's just the input and outputs. Yeah, I don't have the I/O plate for the motherboard. I don't care. It's just a pain in the ass to deal with. Some of the motherboards come with an I/O plate pre-installed. So there's the graphics card at the top with the 4 ports, and the middle card is the 10 gigabit card, and then the bottom one, the Elgato, is the capture card, in and out. So nothing much here. And yeah, as I said, in the front, nothing much. Just 2 fans and the dry bay, and the bottom one here, it's just one of these holders. You can have stuff here if you want to. There is a cover for this. It's a magnetic cover, but I want to have some kind of ventilation for the drive, so I don't have it mounted. It looks a lot better with the cover on, but it will restrict the airflow for the drives. So yeah, that's kind of it for this one. Nothing much, just my secondary PC, and I do some recordings sometimes with it just for testing. So yeah, catch you later.